film fans, do you randomly quote Rebel Without a Cause during arguments? You're tearing me apart!
Huh?
Do people look confused when you say your professor looks like Faye Bainter? Well, look no further, you have come to the right place. Hi, I'm Jessica Pickens with Comet over Hollywood. You might know me from Twitter at Hollywood Comet, my Facebook page, or my website, where we discuss and celebrate classic films. Comet over Hollywood focuses mainly on pre-1968 films. Why before 1968? Well, let me explain that a little bit. Around 1964, 1968 is when the studio system began to decline. The moral code that was set in place in 1934 was starting to dissolve. Classic films are special because they have to use wit, cleverness in their lines and in their actions when it comes to sexual humor or humor in general. Whereas today you might see a movie and all the comedy is sex jokes. And I'm no prude, but that can get a little bit old. In recent news, Comet over Hollywood interviewed Dolores Hart. You might know her from films like Loving You with Elvis Presley or the 1960 teen romp Where the Boys Are with Yvette Mimieux, Connie Francis, and Paula Prentice as some of her co-stars. Dolores Hart became a nun in 1962, was out of the public eye until 2011 when a documentary about her cloistered life came out. And this past May, she published a book called The Ear of the Heart, and that's how I got the interview with Miss Hart back in September. I met with her in Charlotte, North Carolina because she was there for the Charlotte Catholic Eucharist Conference, and she was speaking there. Reverend Mother Hart was very, very sweet and very kind, as you would expect her to be. Dolores Hart becoming a nun was a great shock to Hollywood. I think a lot of people thought it was a rash decision. Some people thought it was because she recently had broken engagement with her fiance, but actually this was something that Dolores Hart had been thinking about for quite some time, probably since about 1958, as she says in her book. One thing I found interesting in Dolores Hart's book, Dolores Hart said that when she entered the convent, she cried herself to sleep every night for 3 years. So though she has been in the convent in Bethlehem, Connecticut for over 50 years now, I guess, this was not an easy decision for her to make. You know, you hear a lot of rumors about, oh, Dolores Hart slept with Elvis and all these sorts of things like that when she was in 2 movies with him. Dolores Hart did give Elvis his first on-screen kiss, which was also in her first film, which was Loving You. But Hart said that Presley was always a gentleman. He called her Miss Dolores in his southern way, and she really enjoyed working with him. After they finished their film together, he went off into the military, and she really didn't have that much contact with him since. Any rumors about, oh, the nun that slept with Elvis Presley, all false. She worked with Montgomery Clift in the drama Lonely Hearts, which is about a newspaper writer who answers sort of like Dear Abby letters, but more of the romantic nature. She said Clift was very distant, very hard to get to know. She was really hoping for some sort of acting feedback, but never really got that from him. People that she did become good friends with in Hollywood included Carl Malden. Anthony Quinn was a close friend of hers. I think he had a bit of a crush on her from what she said in the book, but it was never anything more than friends. She really enjoyed working with Myrna Loy. She said she was very sweet. Myrna was also in Lonely Hearts. Something interesting about her work with Where the Boys Are was that Connie Francis, Paula Prentice, and Yvette Mimieux all got along well with Dolores, which is a little bit rare on a film. When Dolores Hart left Hollywood, she was getting offers for films that like The Courtship of Eddie's Father, The Ticklish Affair, both roles that went to Shirley Jones, and was really on the top of her career. Being an actress was something that Dolores Hart had wanted to do for a very long time. It all started when her grandfather, who ran a movie projection, she would go up and sit with him, and she'd see all these movies, and when she finally told her grandfather as a teenager that she wanted to be an actress, he says, "I've seen them all, and I know you'll do great," which she told me in the interview I had with her in September meant a great deal to her, hearing that from her grandfather. She didn't have a cheery home life like you might think. Her parents were married as teenagers. They were married because her mother got pregnant with Dolores. Her father beat her mother. They both had dreams of becoming actors themselves and moved out to Los Angeles, and they were both beautiful parents, but neither one went far. Her father did have some bit roles but nothing really to brag about. Her parents did eventually divorce, but because of a lot of turmoil with her mother, who was drinking a lot, rather than growing up in Los Angeles, Dolores did spend a lot of time in Chicago with her grandparents, who were really the ones who raised her. Well, as much as I've enjoyed our time together, I think it's time to go, but I will see you again soon next week. We are starting to make Comet Over Hollywood videos on a weekly basis, so hopefully you will be looking forward to hearing about any sort of classic film that we discuss then. With Halloween coming up, pretty soon we will be discussing some horror movies, classic horror movies of course, and also I would like to hear from you. Are you dressing up as something classic film related this year? Comment below and tell us what you're gonna be. Have you maybe had a classic film related costume in the past? Such as one year I dressed up as Carmen Miranda. Share your pictures with me. Email them at cometoverhollywood@gmail.com, and I will share your pictures on the Facebook page and probably on my blog as well. Email address is below. Also hit subscribe and like if you enjoyed this. Share this with your other classic film friends, and make sure to come back next week. Bye!